the reason for today's meeting, the situation in Belarus. Colleagues, we are resuming our business earlier than anticipated due to the extraordinary events taking place in Belarus. As you know, the presidential elections took place on the 9th of August. During the electoral campaign, the people of Belarus have demonstrated their desire for democratic change. The authorities responded with repression and arrests of potential candidates and political activists, many of whom remain in prison. Observers from OSCE, ODIHR, were not invited to observe the elections, but credible reports of domestic observers clearly show that the electoral process didn't meet the international standards expected of an OSCE participating state. The announcement of manipulated results sparked the biggest protests that the country has seen since its independence. Peaceful demonstrations were met with extreme brutality, which deeply shocked the Belarusians. Reports indicate that at least 3 protesters were killed and those arrested were subject to beatings, torture, and intimidation. Yet, as we have observed, the crackdown only strengthened the resolve of the people, as seen again last weekend. They took to the streets in even bigger numbers, and the workers of the largest state enterprises announced nationwide strikes. The opposition has formed a coordination council which is coordinating a peaceful and orderly transfer of power from the incumbent president. However, President Lukashenko has accused the council of trying to seize power, and 2 members of its presidium were detained yesterday. Colleagues, we will have a very comprehensive discussion today. First, we will hear from the European External Action Service about the EU's response to the events in Belarus, and we will discuss our next steps. I would like to welcome per video Ms. Helga Schmid, the Secretary General of the European External Action Service, replacing the High Representative and Vice President Josep Borrell, who unfortunately can't be with us today. Then, after the debate with Helga Schmid, we will have an opportunity to hear a Belarusian perspective directly from Sviatlana Tsikhanouskaya, the main opposition candidate in the presidential election. Colleagues, the events in Belarus have prompted a quick response from the European Union at the highest level. The High Representative, Josep Borrell, convened a video conference meeting with the Ministers of Foreign Affairs of the 27 member states on the 14th of August. This was followed up by the video conference of the European Council, as you recall, on the 19th of August. There has also been a strong reaction from the European Parliament. President David Sassoli made a statement during the emergency summit of the European Council, and the leaders of 5 political groups, the EPP, the SND, Renew Europe, the Greens, EFA, and the ECR, made a joint statement on the 17th of August. Together with our committee vice chair, Witold Waszczykowski, I also made a statement immediately after the elections. Our message was and is clear. We do not recognize the election results. We condemn the brutality by the security forces, and we support the demands of the Belarusian people for a new and free elections to be held under the supervision of independent observers such as the OSCE. And finally, I would also like to remind all of you that 2 of our members, Robert Biedron and Petras Austrevicius, who intended to travel to Minsk upon the invitation of civil society activists, were prevented from entering the territory of Belarus. That's all from my side. Let me now turn to Helga Schmid. She is perfectly placed to report about the outcome of the discussions at member state level and the next steps that the European Union is planning to take regarding Belarus. Helga, once again, a warm welcome, and I will give you the floor for about 7 minutes.